So we're back again. Thank you for everyone to join. This is the Gravedigger Report. Today we have another special guest by the name of AVERELL SPICER. He's a Chicago Bear and also former USC Trojan. Let's go ahead and add him to the show.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing, AVERELL? How's everything going for you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, I'm so grateful and happy, to just definitely have you on the show. Former Chicago Bear, USC Trojan as well too. You guys are doing great right now. Tell me a little about yourself.
Yeah, as a kid, we moved around a little bit. I spent most of my young life in Florida and California. I played my high school ball out here in California. I went to Rancho Cucamonga, and that's kind of where my football career, really started to blossom. I came out as number one defensive lineman in the country for classes '05.
Oh, hold right there. Hold right there. So you were the number one defensive tackle in the nation.
The all D line, ends and tackles. I was an
Okay.
end in high school,
Okay. You was a defensive end, and then
and then I
you.
moved to nose guard at the USC.
Okay. And thereafter, how was the whole recruiting process being the number one defensive tackle in the nation?
So it was actually really cool. I think I had something like maybe 50 something offers, probably almost like 60 offers. I had a whole lot. I had like a lot of places, and I remember you had to like narrow it down to a top 10, then a top 5.
Right.
I remember, if I'm not mistaken, my top 5 was USC, Florida State, LSU, Michigan, Oklahoma, and I think I was really high on Oregon State as well.
Okay. Great. So during that time, as far as recruiting, were you a dual sport athlete or was it just football?
So I was, I played all sports. I played basketball freshman year, but then I didn't play anymore after that. But I was All American track and All American in football, pretty much my entire high school career.
Okay, so I know that had to be a big time, when you were being recruited as well too. Do you know that the individual at USC that was actually recruiting you?
So Pete Carroll came down a couple times when I was at USC, and so did
Okay.
Coach Ogeron was there when I was being recruited. So Coach O came down, and I remember I forget his name. The Pete's son came down a couple times too. Came to a couple of my games.
Brennan,
Yeah,
Brennan,
Brent. There you
Brennan
go.
Carroll. Okay,
It's
okay,
been a while. It's been a while.
okay. Definitely understood. So with all those schools, and offers on the table, the recruiting process wasn't seamless. What actually had you narrow your recruiting, your choice down to University of Southern California, USC at the time?
So it's funny. I originally had verbally committed after taking almost all my visits. I pretty much verbally committed to Florida State, which like I told you, I was raised in Florida and in California. So as a kid, when I was 7 years old, I told my mom, "Hey, I want to go to Florida State. I'm gonna get a scholarship." And so I originally had committed to them because that's where I always had wanted to go. But then I took my official visit to USC, and, uh, and as we know, USC was winning at the time. They had just won championship. They had just come off winning back-to-back championships.
Right.
And, I basically was like, you know what? Everything Florida State can offer me, so can USC. And USC is 45 minutes from where I was living at the time already. So my family could come to the games. And I wasn't going to have to move, but down the street, basically.
Noted. So during the whole recruiting process, for athletes that are listening and for followers as well too and viewers, how was the support from your family from Florida and also within California based on your decision?
So my family's always been really supportive. Like even when it came, like I remember being in junior high school, and there we had a local high school that was really good for football and was known to get people recruited. And my family moved twice just to make sure I could go to that school, so I'd have a chance to get the best looks. So they've always been really supportive of me. And they when it came time to pick, my mom and dad and everybody was so proud of me just getting ready to go to college and stuff. They didn't care where I went. So USC was just about where I wanted to go and where I thought I was going to feel the most comfortable.
Noted. And we know that going to USC is not a easy school to get into from academic side. Tell us a little bit about that as far as with your education, your grades, and you went to Rancho Cucamonga High School, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So the grades part was a challenge. SC is a private school. I did not expect it to be as tough as it was. I really had to really focus and get to the grind. And I had to put a lot of effort into staying above float on the academic side, honestly.
Okay. So how about this? So USC was winning at the time. You're the number one defensive tackle coming out. You go there, and how was your time at USC? Well, just give us a pivotal time period. Going forward, how was the overall experience at USC?
Going to USC, it taught me a lot about life and about how to be a successful man in life. Like USC, like we had a lot of horses in the stable back then. Okay, so
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to play. Like the guy, I sat behind Cedric Ellis, former number 2 pick. I sat behind him for when he said he was coming back for his senior season. I was like, oh man,
Right.
But I learned about how to be successful and how to do things right, and how when you go day to day doing things right, and at some point things start to trend the right way because you're doing it right. You're making the right decisions for long periods of time.
Right. So staying disciplined, also staying compliant and structured, within your routine, because we know that success is in your routine. And I tell anyone or every athlete, even in professional world, when you're going from your day to day, a mantra that staying compliant, staying structured is key to your success. So therefore, with you being the number one recruit coming out, went to University of California. I take it that you played in a couple Rose Bowls, correct?
Yeah. I think we played in about 3 or 4. We went to 3 or 4 consecutive ones. I know we lost to Texas, and then we beat Michigan, beat Illinois, beat Penn State. Yeah, so we went to 4 in a row.
Okay, great. And thereafter, after those 3 or 4 years you were there, 3 years or 4 years, correct?
No, man, I had the red shirt. I did the 5-year stand, man.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
So I
Tell us a
really
little.
got to take my time and get my education right and everything. Yeah.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that. So a 5 year stint, University of Southern California. How was that? Just that experience, just being a fifth year senior, and how was that?
Okay, so the good thing about being a 5th-year senior is what I tell people, because a lot of kids, they come in, right, and they don't want a red shirt, and they think red shirting is a bad thing, right? And nobody wants to sit and not play, right?
Right, right. Especially if you're the number one recruit.
Right, right. But you had to understand, to get into SC at that time, everybody was number 1 recruits. We had Mark Sanchez and all different kind of guys who were all number 1s in their position. Like we had a lot of guys at the time. But what I tell people is it pays off on the back end, because my 5th year, when I was a 5th-year senior, now I'm walking in the 5th-year senior, and I only got 2 classes. Okay.
Right.
I can focus majorly on football.
Mhm.
Once football was up, I went straight into getting the agent and stuff. Like it was so much less school stuff on the back end that last year I could really focus and prep to go to the NFL. So when I hit the NFL, I was ready. I was such a seasoned college vet that it was time to go to the pros.
Understood. Understood. So leading up to the pros, how was the strength and conditioning? So were you working out with USC, or were you working out with a personal trainer during your fifth year?
Okay, so after my senior season was over,
Hmm.
I paid into a personal trainer.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to we got a personal trainer who literally a guy who just focused on the things you were going to do at the combine. Because you get out of college, you know how to play football, right?
Right.
But
Right.
running the 40 and doing the 4-cone drill and all the little drills and stuff they have you do, that's a skill in itself. So I got a guy specific to doing those drills. So I hired a guy just to get me ready for the pro days and such.
Gotcha. Do you think a lot of athletes, as of right now, need to focus on those type of methods and strategies as of right now? When they're not playing football, focus on those techniques, those workouts, such as the 40 yard 40 yard dash, or let's say the 25 yard shuffle.
So yeah, so it's kind of weird, right? Because you know how to play football, right? Like, let me give you an example. So when I went to the Bears, and we're doing OTAs and all this, we're not in any pads. So the guys up front, they're not going full speed. So for the
Right.
first few months I was on the Bears, no one really knew if I could play or not. But as soon as we strapped the pads on, everybody
Right.
knows who could play, right?
Exactly.
So getting ready for the combine and getting ready for pro day and doing it like that, what that does is basically put you in a position so that you have your best outing on some people who are trying to scout you without actually watching you play football live. You see?
Exactly. Exactly. Because we
You're
know the
getting
eye
ready
is
to show them, yeah, you're getting ready to show them, like, not only can I do it on the field, but I have the due diligence to practice for what you're coming to see me do too, even though this isn't really real football. This is just exercising, like showing how quick and agile I am or so.
exactly. Exactly. So, how was your experience playing with the Chicago Bears?
It was short lived, man. Like, I got hurt really early, and they IR'd me. They IR'd me. They paid me all my money and everything. But it's like I was to that when I got that final injury when I was with the Bears. I kind of knew it was done. Like I had already had enough. It was my second knee surgery in 2.5 years. It was just it was clear to me that it was done.
Understood. Understood. Definitely understood. So, from the transition from University of Southern California, then transitioning to the Chicago Bears, was there, for several years. Had a great experience and a great run. Used to a high level of output related to your lifestyle. As of right now, what is taking place in your life as of right now, as far as for career, family, just in general?
So now I kind of and this is kind of important to me. I always like to tell people, like, when I got done playing football, I wasn't ready to go back into. I wasn't ready to go into the real world. I found
Okay.
out that I went into a workforce where I had no real skills other than playing football. So it kind of took me a little while. I bounced around a little while trying to find out what I really wanted to do. And
Right.
luckily, I got back up with some of the people I played with at USC and some mentors of mine. They helped guide me, and some of the things they asked me was, I'll never forget when I got back home and I met up with Omar Nazel, former USC Trojan. And the
Right.
first thing he said is, what do you want to do? You have to figure out what you want to do. And for me, it was engineering. I kind of fell into engineering, medical engineering. When I was playing football, I was in MRI machines and CT machines multiple times a year.
Right.
So I was always kind of fascinated with how they work. And then I kind of got into engineering, started from the ground up. And now I do biomed, nuke med, rad room, and all that engineering. I go to hospitals a couple times a week and I fix $1 million equipment. And it's honestly, I love doing what I do. I honestly love doing what I do.
I
You
can
know,
tell you love what you do. That's great. That's great, man, and that's tremendous and awesome. So, what advice would you give athletes as of right now? Because we have the NIL. It's totally different right now. We'll definitely speak on that. What advice would you give student athletes as of right now? These are athletes who are at junior colleges, HBCU, athletes who are entering the transfer portal, athletes who have already signed their NIL deal and they're at these BCS schools, big name schools. What advice would you give them?
well, I'll start by saying this. It's good that they have these NIL deals and such now, because now you getting some backing, something to fall back on in case it doesn't play out the way I wish I had that kind of cushion, because I thought I was going to have a long career, and sure enough it didn't happen, because your body can only take so much, right?
Right.
But my advice to these young men: don't be afraid to put the same kind of energy into your mind that you put into your body. You wake up every morning, you're lifting weights at 6 in the morning, you're running, conditioning. You should be putting that same kind of energy into your mind, expanding your mind, growing your mind.
Understood. Definitely understood. And when you say that, do you mean from a educational standpoint? Like, hey, I'm at this big time school. They're paying for everything. I'm on scholarship. I might as well go ahead and just take, well, how about be a double major, or be able to start my own business on the side, or what were some of the things that you would have done, Averill, that if you would have had an NIL back in 2006 or 7?
I would have started investing and buying property. Is what I probably would have done, knowing what I know now. But you're young, and like that's what I always tell people. They always ask about how the NFL was. I was like, we'll take a 22, 23-year-old kid and give him hundreds of $1,000s and see how that looks, and millions of dollars in some cases.
Right,
So
right.
you
Yeah.
know,
So yeah,
I
go
say
ahead.
this, like I knew a guy who he did a 5-year stint. He did like the red shirt, did a 5-year stint, and was able to get his master's for free. Okay,
Wow.
like you can do it. Like don't be afraid to put that same kind of energy up here. Because it will
Understood.
pay off in the end. That I now knowing what I know now, I know that if I'd have put that same kind of energy into my mind back then, I'd have been just as successful, whether I played football or not.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, do you think that athletes nowadays that are in college, student athletes who are transitioning into college, do you think that the role that they have as of right now is more gifted to allot them the journey to be more successful?
Yes, it is definitely. They have definitely made it to where the opportunities are there, and you will be more successful. I mean, this NIL thing is like, how many guys are going to get their money on NIL deals and not even like the same guys who may not make it in the pros or may get injured before they get to the pros, but that NIL deal money is going to help them set up the rest of their lives. Like I'm really happy for this, and I feel like it's a good change. I know some people don't like it, and I get it. It kind of makes it a little harder,
Right.
but all the other stuff can be ironed out. This is clearly a good thing.
Iron out with a crease. Definitely iron out with a crease. What do
Yeah.
you think about the NIL deal for HBCUs or smaller schools?
I feel like this is one of those kind of things where they're going to get shortchanged. But then again, right, HBCUs have always been shortchanged in every aspect, right?
Right.
Like they've never gotten the media they're supposed to get, the attention they're supposed to get, the funds they're supposed to get aren't usually as good as they need to be. So this is going to definitely help, but we just got to start helping get these young brothers to the right places and to the right people.
Yeah, and and definitely things are changing. The Gravedigger Report is a platform not just for HBCUs, but for HBCUs, and also for individuals from junior college transfers, and also for smaller schools, and also for BCS schools. Hell, you went to a big school, so and we're glad to have you on the show. So, Averill, we're definitely going to go ahead and conclude this conversation, but you always are definitely welcome. Is there anything that you would like to provide to student athletes, is also as well for women athletes as well too, because you definitely were able to drop some gems, man. We really appreciate it.
Hey man, just look, keep to the grindstone, man. Look, I know that there are going to be days where you're just grinding and grinding and grinding. Trust me, it will pay off. It all hard work always pays off. Just keep your head to the grindstone, man. Keep going, man.
And one more thing, April, before I cut you loose, I definitely want to ask you, how do you think your children are doing as of right now?
They
Or our
looking
children?
good. They looking good, man. They looking good. You know what? I was like a little upset with the defense, but they kind of looking like they're slowly starting to clean that defense up a little bit. They might be all right, man. Like I thought it was going to take 1 or 2 years. It seems like it's hitting right away.
Well, at USC and other schools as well, we know that success is tradition. So we have to see how that plays out. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
All right, April. We thank you for having me. We'll speak to you soon. Okay.
All right now.
All right. Thank you. So that concludes one of the episodes for the Gravedigger Report. We'll see you next time. Until then, be safe and stay strong.